What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Wrestling for Life Network, and welcome back to another edition of the TNA review. We will be going over this week's episode of TNA Impact, which is June 27th. We had a lot to go down, so let's get into it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Wrestling for Life Network. We got a lot to talk about today with TNA Impact. We got new matches set up for Slammiversary. We got Jordynne Grace defending the title against Ash by Elegance. We got a whole bunch of stuff just to go over, so we will get right into it. So, like I said, Jordynne Grace will be defending the TNA Knockouts World Championship against Ash by Elegance at Slammiversary. Mustafa Ali will be defending the X Division title against Speedball Mike Bailey as well at Slammiversary. So Slammiversary is already shaping up to be a really good pay-per-view. I feel like it's going to be a stellar pay-per-view as we get closer and closer to Slammiversary. But this week's episode kicked off with Gia Miller and Jordynne Grace. Gia Miller basically welcoming Jordynne Grace to the ring, and they got straight to the point. Jordynne Grace said she has had enough of Ash by Elegance. She has went to Santino Marella, and she has signed the contract for them to have their title match on this week's edition of TNA Impact. But quickly, they were interrupted by George Iceman and Ash by Elegance. And basically, George Iceman and Ash by Elegance said, you did sign the contract, but you didn't read that this match will be taking place at Slammiversary. I think Jordynne Grace was a little bit upset. How could we tell that she was a little bit upset? She took out all of security that was out there to protect Ash by Elegance. But this match has been made official at Slammiversary. Jordynne Grace will be defending the TNA Knockouts World Championship against Ash by Elegance. And like I said, I think this is the perfect time. This is the perfect time to have this match. Ash by Elegance has been trying to prove herself in TNA, and this is the next step. Can she defeat Grace at Slammiversary? I don't know, but I'm excited to see this match because it involves Ash by Elegance. We immediately go into our first match, which was Masha Slamovich versus Xia Brookside. And before this match actually kind of kicked off, there was a stare down. I hope a lot of people noticed that, but it was a stare down between Jordynne Grace and Masha. If we are going to revisit that, I think we need to revisit that very, very quickly. But anyway, we got right into our first match. This was a fun match. Masha Slamovich really has been holding her own, even though she's in a tag team with Alicia Edwards. I expected nothing different here, so Masha Slamovich got the victory. But this was a pretty solid back and forth match between Masha and Xia Brookside. I was actually a little bit excited to see this match, to see Xia Brookside get some more time in a TNA ring, and for Masha Slamovich to prove why she is still one of the best knockouts in TNA today. Excellent match, won by Masha Slamovich. So Mustafa Ali presented us with a State of the Union address. And basically, he was trying to clear up his name from what was brought to our attention at Against All Odds. And I think we already knew what Mustafa Ali was, and that was a fraudulent politician. And that was brought to our attention at Against All Odds. He said that he doesn't care about the X Division. He doesn't care about the X Division title. He doesn't even care about the city of Chicago because he's technically not from Chicago. This was a long, drawn out process that we finally got to see that Mustafa Ali is not the man he says he is. So basically, he had Singh conduct an investigation to see, what was brought up from what he said at Against All Odds from the leaked footage. And basically, Singh said that this was all fake news. This was all AI generated. And before we move on, I just want to say this is perfectly lining up with what we see if you live in the United States in the political world right now. So Mustafa Ali is doing his best and darndest to bring this really to light. But yeah, he had the State of the Union address, and the fans really want Speedball Mike Bailey versus Mustafa Ali, and it got kind of physical between Mustafa Ali and a fan, to the point where the fan was assaulted by Mustafa Ali. Speedball Mike Bailey came out and saved this entire thing, but it's been made official. Mike Bailey will be challenging for the X Division Championship against Mustafa Ali at Slammiversary. Another match added to the Slammiversary card that's going to smash. This card is looking stacked. It really is looking stacked. We also had some triple threat tag team action that happened on this past week's episode of Impact. It was the Rascals versus Cody Deaner and Jake Something versus ABC. And this was really ABC's step closer to getting to the TNA World Tag Team Championships. I feel like they still got a few more steps out there, because you still have the Hardy Brothers, the reunited Hardy Brothers, gunning towards those titles. You still got Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth gunning for those titles. So I still think there's a few obstacles for ABC to get to before they get to those tag team championships. But this was a fun match. Jake Something always showing what he can do in that ring and his strength. So a lot of this match was Jake Something heavy, but this was a fun tag team match. Like I said, I think TNA does tag team wrestling justice. They do need more tag teams in that division, but the wrestling, the high wrestling in the tag team division that they currently have is always top tier. So I really enjoyed this match, and no surprise here that this match was won by ABC. So we have another Road to Slammiversary qualifier match. If you're not sure what this is, we are setting up a big 6-person elimination match at Slammiversary. Moose will be defending his title against 5 other competitors. So this qualifying match was between Sami Callihan and Steve Maclin, and I think by far this might be my favorite match of the qualifying matches. Hard hitting on both ends. We already know that Steve Maclin delivers every time he steps into that TNA ring, and Sami Callihan is a great addition back to the TNA roster, and he is looking to climb his way back to the top spot and being the face of TNA. And before this match kicked off, there was really a great video package highlighting both Steve Maclin and Sami Callihan and how they have gotten this far in their careers in TNA. But this was a stellar match, fast-paced, hard-hitting. You couldn't even sometimes pay attention to all of the action because it was going so fast. But the person that moved on to Slammiversary, qualified for that elimination match happening at Slammiversary, was Steve Maclin. I really didn't expect Sami Callihan to win here. This was all Steve Maclin. This was probably the best match this week on TNA Impact. I highly enjoyed it. Congratulations to Steve Maclin. Like I said, we are inching closer and closer and closer to Slammiversary, and they are building TNA Anthem. They are building a stellar card for the 20th anniversary of Slammiversary. Had a quick match between Alan Angels and Kushida. Basically, Kushida did not like how Alan Angels took to him, talking about how he's trying to investigate this black ink that Jonathan Gresham is using. So this was a really quick match. I expected Kushida to win. Kushida did win, but he was attacked by Jonathan Gresham after the match. Jonathan Gresham is really trying to protect what this black ink is. Like I said, we have to continue paying attention to what Jonathan Gresham does. I really like this new character. I've mentioned this several times that I think this is great character development with Jonathan Gresham. So we got to pay attention here. But yeah, I think this storyline with Kushida and Jonathan Gresham is far from being over. We get a broken segment backstage with Matt Hardy and his wife, and it has been made official. His wife is stepping back into the ring after a long hiatus from in-ring action. She will be teaming up with her husband, Matt Hardy, to take on Eddie Edwards and Alicia Edwards next week on TNA Impact. And I'm super excited to see this. I'm super excited to see Matt Hardy's wife back in the ring. You know, I talk about Alicia Edwards a lot and how Alicia Edwards has really grown on me. I think she's perfect. I think she's perfect for the role she plays in TNA. I'm glad she is also holding gold as being one half of the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Champions. But yeah, next week is sure to be good when this match happens live on TNA Impact. We are at the main event of TNA Impact this past week. Before we talk about that main event, I just want to say how I'm loving the attention that TNA is getting on social media by, fans, the TNA faithfuls, and the newcomers to TNA. People are talking about TNA more positively, and I love that. There's more eyes on the product for TNA. TNA is growing by the day, and I don't know if you guys heard the news about Against All Odds, but that was the biggest sign up for TNA Plus new members that day of Against All Odds. So TNA is growing by the day with the help of their collaboration, their working together partnership with WWE. TNA is doing big things right now, making big moves. We got Slammiversary on the horizon. We got Emergence, we got Victory Road, we got the biggest show of the year, Bound for Glory, coming up in October. Still trying to figure out where they're going to land with Bound for Glory, what city it's going to be in, but TNA is cooking. So, like I say every week, if you are not watching TNA Impact every Thursday at 8, you need to be, because you're missing out on some of the best wrestlers in the world that go out and hone their craft, hone their skills, and show the world that TNA is still the company to keep your eye on. We are here, we are around, we are relevant. TNA is cooking and firing on all cylinders at this point. So you got to keep an eye on TNA. Keep an eye on your WWEs, your AEW, but come around to TNA wrestling because they are proving that they can never die. All right, y'all, we are at the main event. This was another Slammiversary qualifier match. It was Nick Nemeth versus Rich Swann, and this was a fantastic match. I think this was maybe the best match of the night, but I think my favorite qualifier was the other one between Steve Maclin and Sami Callihan. But this was fantastic. Both these men had time in that ring to show their skills. I don't think there's no surprise here that it was going to be Nick Nemeth, because I still believe Nick Nemeth is on the road to becoming TNA World Champion. I thought it would be at Slammiversary in a one-on-one match with Moose, but I'm unsure now with it being an elimination match. And it still could be the case where Moose lose at Slammiversary, but I'm fearful that Moose losing at Slammiversary will derail the system in a way, and it probably will, because he's the ringleader for the system. But the system is looking strong, the system is looking healthy, and I don't want them to lose just yet. So maybe I need to push my theory of Nick Nemeth winning back to Bound for Glory in October. I don't know, maybe they give him the Bound for Glory shining moment. But yeah, Nick Nemeth won this match. He has qualified for the elimination match at Slammiversary. So I think we have Moose, we have Steve Maclin, we have Josh Alexander, and now we have Nick Nemeth. So we have two more matches, or yeah, I believe we have about two more matches before we get to the final face of what this card would look like, what this match will look like. But this is going to be epic. I'm super excited for it. To do it, guys, for the TNA Impact review this week. I went over some of the high points. I didn't get into everything that went down on TNA Impact. Wanted to just stick to the high points as we head and charge towards Slammiversary. We do have some big things coming up with TNA, so I want you guys to keep your eyes open and watching TNA. We got Jordan Grace defending her title in another open challenge that went down at this weekend's TNA Impact tapings. I know there's spoilers out there. I know people are already talking about it, but I'm trying to keep away from the spoilers, keep away from everything. I want to see this as it happens on TNA television. So remember, Jordan Grace is defending her Knockouts title in an open challenge match. The Hardy Boys are also teaming up. They are teaming up to take on, I believe, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers at these tapings as well. I do not believe the tag team titles are on the line, but that is happening as well. So TNA is really cooking. They got Slammiversary. They got the tapings that'll be happening in a couple of weeks in Montreal after Slammiversary. We have the Orlando tapings, the Ohio tapings, I believe, and the Kentucky tapings. And I will hopefully be at the tapings in South Carolina. I think the city is called Spartanburg. So I will be there live for those TNA Impact tapings as well. So, like I said, keep your eyes glued on TNA as we charge towards Slammiversary, as we continue to see what the WWE and TNA collaboration brings, because I know it's going to continue to grow and grow. Better for TNA as more people are watching TNA weekly. Again, y'all, thank you for tuning in to the TNA Impact Review. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you're listening on any of the podcasting platforms, I want to say thank you as well. You will catch me in the next one.